Hey crafty sis, welcome back to my channel. For today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create these 8.5 by 11 foldable gift cards. The best part about these cards is that it has an opening in the back so that you're able to reuse them. This also makes it super easy to fill them with goodies. Let's get into it. The supplies you're going to need are these treat boxes. I found these at Walmart. You also need some embellishments, foam board, a box cutter, an X-Acto knife, a ruler, and scissors. Of course, you're also going to need your paper that you're going to be using. I'm using our shimmery cardstock as well as our sticker paper to create the outside as well as the inside of my card. I'll leave the link to the paper in the description below. So to start off, I'm going to take the front and the back of my card, keeping in mind that you want to put the front of the card on the right side and the back on the left side. That way when you go to fold, everything will be in the right spot. The video got cut off, but I'm just adding glue to the paper and adding it to my foam board. You do want to leave a small gap in between both sheets of paper. I'll explain why further in the video. There's no right or wrong way with adding your glue as far as which sides to put down first. I'm just going with whatever my heart feels, child. Now that everything is glued down, I'm going to take my ruler and cut the first edge. Now with this cut, you want to make sure that you're cutting super deep so that you can completely cut through the foam board, just as I'm doing here. Now I'm moving on to cutting the side, and you're going to do the same exact thing. Cut all the way through, super deep, all the way through the foam board from one side to the other. Once you do that, you should end up with something like this. Now we're getting to the middle part. This is where I told you to leave a small gap in between. The reason why is because you want to give the card enough room to fold. This part you're cutting, but not cutting all the way through, okay? You're just gonna kind of perforate the card so that it's able to bend. Do not apply too much pressure so that you don't cut the card in half. So it should bend something like this. Now it's time to add the inside of the card. This one I printed on our sticker paper, so I won't be using a glue gun. Instead, I'm just gonna unwrap the back layer of the sticker paper and put it directly on the card. The easiest way to do this is to fold just a little bit. Don't completely take the backing off. You're gonna line it up against the card to make sure everything is even and straight, and then you're just gonna smooth it down. Now remember when I told you not to completely take the backing off, just a little bit. So you're gonna smooth that part down first, and then I'm gonna show you how to come over to pull the bottom off as you're smoothing the rest. So I'm pulling and smoothing, and then I'm gonna take my squeegee to finish it off. This will ensure that you get rid of any air bubbles and things like that. I'm going to repeat the same exact thing on the other side of the card, making sure that everything is aligned, and then smoothing and pulling, and using my squeegee to take out the air bubbles. So now you should have something like this, which is pretty much your card. If you wanted to, you could honestly just leave it like this and add your treat tray to the front. But I want to be a little extra, so I'm going to cut out the inside of the card for the front part of the card. With these cuts, I'm going to apply a lot of pressure so that it can cut all the way through, because I want to cut this hole out completely. I'm cutting out this square. Once I use my box cutter for the main cuts, I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to cut around the rounded edges, just because it's kind of hard to do it with the box cutter, so the X-Acto knife is going to help me get into the sides of the cuts. So you should end up with something like this. Now we're moving on to the back of the card. Now for this part, I'm going to use a smaller square as my guide, because I'm going to cut the inside of the box slightly smaller than the box that's printed on the card. I'll explain why a little bit further in the video. Now pay attention to this part, because for the first 3 cuts, you want to cut all the way through, as you see me doing here, applying lots of pressure. I'm gonna do that for the cut that's on the outer side of the card, the top and the bottom. I flipped the card over because for this cut, I want it to be a perforated cut. I don't want to cut all the way through the foam board because this is going to be the part that gives me the swing door open effect. You should be able to swing it open just like this. This is what will give you the ability to refill your card. Now we're moving on to the front design part. I'm going to open up my treat tray. Now technically this tray is supposed to close with 2 of them, but I'm just going to use 1. And I'm going to cut off the tabs. Once that's cut, I'm gonna go to put it onto the original box template. Now, as you can see, this is the reason why we wanted to cut the box a little bit smaller in the back, because when we go to put our tray on, we want it to fit perfectly. Now you're just going to use your hot glue gun to put it all around the tray and to place it onto the card. You can also do this by gluing directly on the card, because keep in mind that the hot glue gun does kind of shrink the tray just a little bit because it is plastic, but it still gets the job done. You could also use double-sided tape for this step. Once I had the glue all the way around, I'm just going to place it down onto the box like so. Now I'm just pressing down my tray to make sure that the glue is nice and secured. This part is also optional, but I'm just going to get a little small, probably like a 1.5 inch piece of ribbon, and I'm just going to glue it in the center of my flap. Make sure that you're pressing that glue down to make sure that everything is nice and secured. So now your flap should look something like this. This tab just makes it so much easier to pull it open and closed. Now for the fun part, adding in the goodies. Now I would suggest lining them up really nicely so that it can have a nice display in the front, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just literally just putting them in here so that you guys can see how easy it is to fill and unfill it. Alright, now there you have it, a custom foldable gift card. This card was designed using our Bear and Friend templates. I will add the link down below. That's the end of this tutorial. Let me know in the comments below if you would try this DIY.